before Peter publicly accused his father of trying to take the Earth for himself. So, in celebration of that little shindig, the Guardians go get fucked up all at the bar. And as the conversation progresses, Tony Stark, the liaison for the common man in this story, in many cases, uh, he finds out that they like to do that every time they win a big battle. That's a tradition, is that they just like to go get fucking hammered and party. So that's a pretty awesome twist on a superhero team. You don't usually see that. Um, well, the alcohol starts talking. We see Tony Stark throwing his irresistible charms on Lady Gamora. And, of course, the inevitable conclusion is they end up in the sack together. And the rest of the team is worried that she might have killed him because they didn't think that he could handle her. That's pretty awesome. So, 2/3 into the issue, and it's just cutting up and entertainment. But then, of course, there's a mystery assassin outside, and they are from the Spartax Empire, of course. They attack Gamora, and the Spartax Empire hits the bar, and a rumble breaks out, and the Guardians, in their roguish way, get the hell out of Dodge and kick some major ass in another awesome issue. This was the one I thought that really not a lot happened storyline development wise, but it really captured what they're trying to get over in their personalities and why it makes them different than the Avengers or other teams. They're a ragtag bunch of crazies, and it's awesome. Yeah. And then we'll stick within the Marvel Cosmic. A little Nova number 5. Also, what looked to be the end of an arc, and if so, maybe the end of Jeff Loeb, and maybe the end of Nova.
It's the end of the Jeff Loeb run.
Yeah, probably will mark the end of Nova for me, at least in the time being, just because I don't really have a spot for another book on my pull list, but really a great introduction to this character, and he's going to be important in Infinity, and I'll continue his adventures there.
And maybe beyond. Wah, wah, wah. Like in the movie.
We see that Titus, the Tiger, Sam Alexander's father's former friend turned enemy, had followed him back to Earth to get the Nova helmet, and now is at home endangering his family. Sam pulls a fast move with a skateboard, gets the helmet back, and pretty much just whips the Tiger's ass for the rest of the issue. Fights him in the streets. Funny moment where the bullies that always pick on Sam, he has actually saved him from being murdered by Titus the Tiger, so showing that he's a true hero there, because he probably should have just let him get mauled. He fights Titus the Tiger all the way up into space. The Ultimate Nullifier gets involved, and Sam Alexander ends up saving the day with a little help from Gamora and Rocket Raccoon. And they advise him to leave the Ultimate Nullifier in a safe place. He goes and finds the Watcher and leaves it with him. And you find out also that his dad may actually not be dead after all. He may just be exiled on a foreign planet. So, Nova, moving forward, quality book, check it out. The lighter side of the Marvel Universe, Deadpool number 12, wrapping up its second big arc. And this is where Deadpool has had a disagreement with the demon Vetus and has been on a mission to fulfill a list of murders that Vetus has set out for him in order to regain his buddy Michael's soul. And, of course, Vetus is a demon, so he reneges on that. Deadpool tries to get around it by killing his friend and sending him to hell, who then makes a deal with Mephisto and comes back to life to fuck the demon Vetus. Nice. And all done in hilarity here by Brian Posehn and Jerry Dugan. If you want comedy, Deadpool's where it's at in Marvel. There's just nothing funnier right now. And next month they'll be back with another Lost from the Archives issue, much like they did with Heroes for Hire, or with Demon in the Bottle, but it will be with Heroes for Hire with an Afro Deadpool on the cover, so that should be fun. And then Uncanny X-Men number 7, wrapping up another arc here. This is the limbo scenario, and you see in this issue throughout it, Ileana's talking to someone off camera, or off panel, should I say, trying to explain how her powers are broken, how she needs help. And she's retelling the story of the last part of the arc, where they fight and have the big battle with Dormammu and his demons, and how many of these young X-Men kids from the new school are just completely unprepared to take on the level of evil here. And they survive, but barely. Scott and Magneto, they know their powers are severely broken after this. Many of the kids actually quit the team because they've had to be transported to hell and fight demons. So they said, fuck this isn't what we signed up for. But the conversation with Ileana really features some of Bendis' writing at its best, really exploring the depth of her soul, what drives her, why she wants to get her powers under control, what she had to do to defeat Dormammu, which was essentially suck the limbo dimension inside her, which is very dangerous. Come to find out, the person that she's getting advice from is Doctor Strange off panel, and he agrees to take her under his wing and help her. But it's not the Doctor Strange of the modern times, because he's an Avenger, and he would turn her in. No, it's like going back to Steve Ditko, Doctor Strange. They even did an awesome tribute to Ditko and drew him just like Ditko did in the original issues. It's fucking very cool. I was really impressed by that and loved this issue of Uncanny X-Men. Really, now starting to give this book an identity of its own after it was sort of all new X-Men light for the first couple of issues. Wasn't bad, but just kind of retelling those events from a different perspective didn't necessarily need to be done. And on to the pick of the week. Captain America number 8, Rick Remender, in what has been a fairly slow-moving arc, really picks up the pace here. God, I don't know if I even want to say what happens at the end, because I know you've been reading this, but I don't think you're all the way caught up on it. So
I can imagine. You can go on.
You can imagine?
I'm pretty sure,
Have
yeah.
you had it spoiled online?
No.
No, just a guess?
There's just certain events. Maybe it's not where it happens here, but there's certain events. Cap's coming back to modern time, and he ain't bringing nobody with him, so... I knew that after I read the very first issue. It's like, oh, there's a kid. Well, he's gonna die.
Well, yeah. You called it. That's what happens. In crazy fashion, Remender in what he does best is rip your guts out as a writer. So,
does he display the dead body somewhere?
Well, we haven't gotten that far
yet. He likes
yet,
to do
but
that.
I'm sure he will if given the opportunity. Essentially, Zola has got the kid back at this point and has brainwashed him that, all this time that Cap has spent in these issues caring for him in the wild means nothing. Zola's completely reprogrammed him. Cap has a vicious fight with the daughter but survives, and of course the son just fucks him up and turns on him and breaks Cap's heart. He just fucking destroys him. This is some real John Romita Jr. kick-ass style art of Cap getting the ever-loving dog shit beat out of him. It's hard to look at times. It's so graphic. But Cap never gives up. He shows that all-American will as the super soldier and the man out of time. And he keeps trying to convince the kid he's been brainwashed that Cap really does love him, that he's not his biological father, but, he doesn't want him to go the route of Zola. It's only going to lead to misery. It's only going to lead to heartache. It's only going to lead to pain. Rides about the kid is about to fucking kill Cap. He comes to the realization. He fights through the programming, and he apologizes, and he reaches to help Cap up, and a bullet goes through his fucking head. And it's Sharon Carter, who all she saw was the kid beating the shit out of him from a distance. She made it through the wormhole to fucking save Cap and fucking killed the kid to do what she thought was saving him, having no idea that he just realized that Cap had won him back and that he was going to go back to the modern time with him. And whoa, holy fuck, what an end to, wow, just wow.
Now that part's crazy. The fact the kid died, like I said, I predicted that the second I saw the kid, like a year ago, or however, whenever Marvel Now started, months ago. But yeah, the fact she did, that's pretty crazy.
Just a great Remender style twist. That's the type of thing that he will do. Just take you out of left field. So, like, what Cap can be mad at Sharon because she just thought she was trying to save his life. He only had his fucking shield was impaled in his back, sticking out of his back. He's like, ah, and fucking, like, his face is just swollen up. He looks like fucking Rocky after going fucking 5 rounds with Drago. Fucking, of course, what's he gonna do? She's gotta kill the kid.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm excited when I read it. Hopefully the kid doesn't come back on a team in a year.
Yeah.
But hopefully he stays
Hopefully
dead.
not.
But yes. Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. It's good to hear that the book finally picked up.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad before. It was just like, you knew you were waiting on something to happen, and it was just like, it's all kind of standard fare. I mean, it's in a weird setting, but it's Cap, and it's
it
like...
finally did.
It's like, oh, this is what Remender's going for, you know. He likes to write for the long term, and I don't have a problem with that. Sometimes it can be frustrating reading month to month, if we've discussed. So, you know, if you really...
But this is the most. I mean, what issue is this? 9?
8.
8? I mean, there was never, like, a complete, like, collected edition of Uncanny X-Force that didn't have at least something crazy in it.
Right.
So this is the longest that he's gone. I mean, that's a whole Cap hardcover that's already out that not a whole lot happens in. So this is the longest he's ever waited to have something like this happen in a book.
Definitely, if you don't like to read slow building stories on a monthly basis, you'll want to pick this one up in the tree. But I recommend picking it up because for that moment alone is pretty priceless. Another great week of pulls. Next week's gonna be light. I'm gonna be sad after having fucking 9.
Yeah, it's July the 3rd is Wednesday, so because of the 4th, it looks like everybody but DC, actually just Marvel pretty much like really scaled back their pulls. They're not, I mean, it's really kind of their C list of books that's coming out next week for the most part. Then they have some little collected editions and one-shots. But
yeah, got the normal DC fare. We'll have Green Lantern for you next week. A little Detective Comics from you.
Yeah.
Green Arrow.
And then the book I'll probably be looking forward to the most is Fraction's been doing so great lately. He's got a book from Image called Satellite Sam that debuts next week, so that'll be the book that I'm the most pumped for. So even though it's short pulls, at least there's one that I'll be really excited for.
Yeah, and I'll have an issue of Avengers and a Guardians of the Galaxy one-shot. Looks like they're collecting those Marvel Infinite comics. I'm taking all the special effects off of them, obviously, because you can't do that in print form, but at least putting those stories in print because they were individual origins of all of the Guardians of the Galaxy, so that would be very cool to put with the other issues of this great story they got going on. Brian Michael Bendis writing it, but Powers veteran Michael Avon Oeming doing the art on that, and I thought that was cool, reuniting that famous comic team.
Nice.
4th of July coming up this week. Hope you're all safe out there. Don't blow your hands off with fireworks. Don't get too fucked up and kill nobody. Otherwise, have a good time.
Yeah.
Certainly people do some shitty things in this country from time to time, but you wouldn't want to live anywhere else. So, show a little patriotism there and say, as fucked up as it is, it's ours, so we might as well love it.
Yeah, no shit. So next week, if you're only going to do one thing, celebrate America. If you're going to do 2 things, get your pulls.